Live from San Diego, this is KUSI News.
Nick Reiner's arraignment in the killing of his parents, Rob and Michelle Reiner, has been delayed after his attorney asked to be replaced. Here to weigh in on that and more is criminal defense attorney Vikas Bajaj. Vic, good morning to you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you.
Before we get to the Reiner bit, let's talk about what's happening in Minneapolis. Obviously, it's national news. It's international news at this point now with the ICE agent shooting into the car of ICE protester. I don't know if that's fair to say or not yet. A lot of details we still don't know. It's back in the day when I grew up, we could look at a piece of video and we could all agree on a set of facts. Now, everybody has their own interpretation. How do you interpret what happened in Minneapolis?
I think it's very clear. When an officer is in the way of harm, bodily death, potential bodily harm, potential death, he or she has a right to exercise their use of deadly force. In my mind, it's black and white. But in this case, you have a state entity, Minnesota, Minneapolis, that has a certain lean with their prosecutorial efforts, many against police officers, charges that have been dismissed lately, and then you have the federal jurisdiction.
But let me interrupt you with just the DHS handbook says that ICE agents or federal agents should never shoot into a car. How is that going to play into all this?
Yes, of course. You should never shoot into a car unless you're trying to save your own life. It's very clear whether the handbook says one thing or the other is irrelevant. The law of the land is what carries the day. And the jury instructions say if you objectively feel, or even subjectively for imperfect self-defense, that you're in harm's way of bodily harm or death, you are entitled to use fatal force.
Both the mayor and the governor in Minnesota put their thumbs on the scale pretty quickly. It looks like they're going to charge, or at least attempt to charge, this ICE agent. How is that going to play out? Are we looking at another George Floyd situation?
Here's a really interesting distinction with the George Floyd case that you astutely bring up, Paul. George Floyd and the officers included state officers. Here we have federal officers. There are specific laws and precedent in the case in our federal jurisdiction that says if an officer is working in a federal capacity and is dispatched for a federal issue such as tax collection, showing you how old the statute is, or criminal investigation or enforcement, there's immunity. So if the state government decides for political reasons or whatever reason they decide is the impetus to file state charges, you can bet your bottom dollar that the administration, the federal law, is going to say, we're going to remove this to federal court. This is a federal project, federal operation, federal agent immune from state prosecution.
There's things we just don't know before we get to Reiner. Why was she there? You know, I've heard things ranging from she was dropping her kid off at school to that she was leading the protests in the street, or at least trying to interfere with the ICE agents. You know, we had that clip of video. What we don't have is the 2 hours or 20 minutes in front of it. Will that ever surface?
I believe it will, and it absolutely, positively will. And this is why some witnesses claim another female was on site saying, well, that's my wife, and we don't have anyone here that we can call. We're not from around here. Now, whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But if it is, it's an element showing that these are people coming in from out of jurisdiction to impede federal law enforcement. Federal operation, federal law enforcement, immunity from state prosecution.
I've seen so many of these situations where you think you have it with the first bit of video and doesn't. It turns out to be,
yes.
Wait. Just let's wait for the facts to come in. All right, now, the real reason why you're here is the Reiner attorney has bailed. Nick Reiner's attorney has bailed. Why would he do that?
Sometimes when we as defense attorneys jump in on a case, we jump in right away because the family or the accused says, you know, I want you, in this case, Mr. Bajaj, to represent me. We meet with the client, we meet with the family, and then, you know, the first witness that we look for in the private arena, that's Mr. Green. And if Mr. Green is unavailable, well, then there's no reason to move forward with the case. And Mr. Green is a reference to
money, of course,
the almighty dollar.
But all right, so but now, how weird is this? Does Nick Reiner inherit any of the parents' estate, even though he might be guilty of, allegedly has killed them in their sleep? Would that money be at his avail?
I'm not privy to that because I would have to go over all the documentation, the trust lawyers, and see if there's anything there, a caveat of moral turpitude or killing your parents that you're supposed to inherit from. So I wouldn't know how to answer that, but I will tell you this. What he inherits is irrelevant. He has extraordinarily large network of family members who could pool money together for representation, and clearly that didn't happen if, in fact, Mr. Jackson was looking for Mr. Green.
And we can assume that that money is not at his avail, because if the lawyer would not bail if he knew it was going to, because it's going to be a long trial, right?
It's going to be a long trial. It may not be a trial. It may be more of an exercise in litigation on psychological and psychiatric.
But even that takes a long time.
Absolutely, and a lot of dollars. And it may be that Mr. Green isn't there now, but Mr. Jackson may jump in when Mr. Green is found. That can also be a possibility.
Vic, we will let you go. Thank you for rolling in so early. Very stylish. Whoever's picking out your jacket.
Well, that's my wife. Juliana does it right. Thank you.
Juliana, wow. Can you help me out? Send me some pictures.